All right, please introduce yourself, state your name and DOC number for the record.
My name is Eric Gros. My DOC number is 44-2257.
All right, Eric, my name is Brendan Kelsey. Along with me is Mrs. Bonnie Jackson. Mr. Tony Marabella will be your panel. Explain the process to you, read some information to the record, have a parole interview, ask some questions. You can respond at the end. You can make a statement. We'll take a vote. You understand the process?
Yes, sir.
We have Mr. Roland Gros, and we have Ms. Renee Gros. And Mr. Roland can make a statement. And we also have with us Mr. West White, who will make a statement at the appropriate time. Eric Gros, DOC number 442257. You're a second-class offender, not eligible for good time. Full term date 2/28/2025, 15-year sentence, forcible rape. Does that sound correct?
Yes, sir.
Would you answer Mr. Member's question, please?
Thank you. Mr. Gross, how old are you, sir?
41, sir.
And how long have you been in prison on these charges?
13 years and a few months.
Tell me a little bit about your educational background. How far did you go in school?
In school, I quit school early and like 16 years old and started working but since I've been in prison, I've obtained my GED.
When did you get your GED?
And I think it was 2014. And when I came to prison, I could barely read and write, and it was a long process. So I overcame it.
And how long you been in prison, you said?
13 years.
What kind of work did you do when you were on the outside?
On the outside, I worked at a place called Duhorn Machinery. I worked on Bobcats, like a mechanic.
Tell me a little bit about what happened in this case. Why did you do what you did?
Well, sir, me and my ex-wife was having a lot of problems at the time. And one day I went to work, and one of my coworkers showed me a video of him having sex with my wife. And from that point right there, I wanted to confront her, and I did terrible things. I lied to her and told her that my mom and dad's coffee pot needed to be turned off at the house, and got her to go to my parents' house and wound up kidnapping her with my son's water gun. But she thought it was a real gun. But I mean, then wound up running from the cops and broke into a camp. And after a while, we was together about 8 hours at a time, and wound up talking and making up, and we had sex. And I mean, but looking back now, I know why I'm charged what I'm charged with, because she couldn't give me consent because I kidnapped them. So
Do you think you had normal sexual relationships with her in that camp and out in the field? You don't consider that to be rape?
I know it I know it at the time I didn't, but now looking back,
What did you consider it to be? I mean, you had a gun, you kidnapped her, you beat her. What did you think at the time?
I wasn't thinking too much at the time, to be honest with you. Well, once I saw that video, I wasn't myself no more, I didn't know who I was at the time.
You had a previous rape charge back in 2001. What was that about?
My first kid's mom. Me and her was in a bad relationship, and I had a problem with denial. And same with this, I had to learn.
So you raped her as well?
Yes, sir.
Different woman?
Yes, sir.
So tell me, been in prison now, you said 13 years. Tell me what you've thought about while you've been in prison that caused you to commit these two rapes.
Not being able to accept denial. like rejection,
Not being able to accept denial. I'm not certain what that means.
like being rejected, like saying somebody don't want to be with you and having accepted and move on, like the
Well, you know,
denial.
there are a lot of people that are rejected, and there are a lot of people that have difficulty moving on, but they don't go rape these people.
Yes, sir.
Criminals do that.
And I was wrong.
What motivated you to do that? And why should I vote to let you out? Knowing that you've done this twice, why would I think you're not going to do this again if you get in another relationship that goes bad?
I understand your point, and that through this incarceration, I learned that I had to be responsible for my actions, and I'm sorry, I'm just a little nervous, but
Well, I understand you're nervous, and I want you, I don't need you to memorize things for me. I want you to tell me from your heart why I should trust you won't do this.
because I was young and I was dumb, I was a messed up person, and
But why are you no longer messed up?
because I grew up a lot. Over this incarceration, I've been working on myself. Every day I work on myself, and
Tell me the kind of things you've been doing to work on yourself. You've taken 3 phases of sex offender treatment, right? Why didn't you take the 4th?
because I was told that if I took the 4th phase, I only need to take the 4th phase if I was gonna be a facilitator, like teach a class or whatever. And
Why didn't you want to do that?
because I have a hard time like speaking like to a group, like.
Yeah.
And there-
I'll accept that. Tell me what you learned in those 3 phases as they affect you. What did you get out of those programs that you took that might help you not to do this again?
learning to acknowledge your triggers, like learning to know what triggers you, and how to deal with being rejected as a trigger, like how to move on if somebody rejects you, how to just move on instead of letting the trigger, letting your actions become like, I can't even talk right. I'm too nervous.
No, I understand your nerves. Well, let's talk a little bit about the first case you talked about. You said that was the mother of one of your children.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, what did you learn from that? Because you committed that same crime again. When you got convicted that time of the rape, did you take any programs? Did you do any counseling? Did you do anything back then?
Yes, sir, I did, but I didn't take anything serious. I thought I was invincible, but I had to grow up.
Do you have any kind of a relationship with the mother of your children? Now?
Not my oldest son, that for the previous one, she came visit me a couple of times, and we communicated.
Now, is this the woman that you raped the first time?
Yes, sir.
So you and she have some sort of at least a cordial relationship now?
Yes, sir. We don't talk in terms that far as our son.
Right. So you were helping each other raise your son.
Yes, sir.
Well, what do you think your ex-wife feels about what you did? What do you think that did to her?
I know I scared her. I know what I did had that. She probably still deals with it to this day, and I know she was scared for her life, and I was wrong for what I did. I should have never ever done what I did.
Were
I
you
like-
drinking at the time or doing drugs at the time?
Not really drugs. I would drink sometimes, but I never really had a drinking problem,
Drugs.
sir.
Did you ever do drugs?
No, sir.
Never smoked marijuana?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I did. I smoked marijuana before and tried different drugs, but I was never into drugs. That was never a part of my life. I always stayed away from it.
Well, when did you start trying drugs? How old were you when you were trying drugs?
When I was young,
What age?
18, 19, 20.
You tried marijuana,
Yes, sir.
tried cocaine,
No, sir.
what else?
The far as it went with some like Percocets, like pain pills.
All right. What about drinking? What did you drink?
Beer.
When you committed this crime with your ex-wife on this particular day back in 2010, were you drinking?
No, sir.
Did you have anything to drink at all that day?
The night before, I drank the night before, but during this, no, sir.
What did you drink the night before?
A couple beers.
How often would you drink beer?
On the weekends, on a Friday or Saturday.
So you were just real angry? Is that was it was anger that drove you to do this?
That's so when my coworker showed me the video, him having sex with my ex-wife, I was angry.
So what have you done to be able to help you with your anger?
I took anger management, I took Cage of Rage, and I learned that you got to take responsibility for your actions, and you can't just act. You got to think before you act. That's what my problem. I always act then think later.
Did you and Nicole have any children?
Yeah, we have two kids,
How old are your children?
17 and 18.
Do you have any relationship with those children?
Yes, sir.
Have you had any communication at all in any form or fashion with Nicole?
No, sir.
Can you imagine how she feels?
I can't imagine.
Do you ever discuss that with children? Have you ever discussed that with your children?
On occasions, me and the children talked about it, and
What do y'all talk about? What did you tell your children? What did they ask? How did they explain that to them?
I had to be honest with them, told them that, that I kidnapped their mom, and I heard it and scared them in ways that's gonna score for the rest of our life. And
Now, you've taken some faith-based programs. What kind of faith-based programs have you taken?
I took the man that God uses, Wild at Heart, and through the classes, I learned that through prayer, I could have a relationship with a higher power, have a better relationship with God, and that's a key factor.
Your disciplinary record. You've had a couple of write-ups in the last couple of years. What was that about?
And a few years ago, I called with a cell phone. I took a chance with a cell phone, and
What do you mean you took a chance with a cell phone?
because during the pandemic, the visitation was shut down, and after a year and a half, without seeing my kids or my family, I needed to see my family, and that was the only way we could do it, and it was wrong, and I took a chance and got caught and paid a price.
And you got written up for that.
Yes, sir.
But then after that, you got another one. What was that for?
Took the kiosk wire off the kiosk in the infirmary and try to put it on the dome on the unit I was on so we could sync our tablet. And I wrote up for it. It got in
And when
trouble.
was that? That was last year,
Yes,
just
sir.
about a year ago.
Yes, sir.
So what's that about?
Trying to take matters in my own hand and we got the JPay tabs. We got to plug them into the kiosk machine to get our emails or.
Well, I understand that, but do you see my concern? Here you've been in prison for 12 years then, and you're still screwing up,
Yes, sir.
still committing violations. Gordon, what can you tell us about Mr. Gross?
So Eric did have those write-ups back in February 2022. He went through our transitional dorm, took some classes, went through it successfully. He's been back on the main compound for a while and has had no write-ups since. He currently works in the hobby shop, and I think he has gotten back into the Pride program.
Yes, ma'am.
And then he also just recently completed pre-release, last week?
Yes, ma'am.
Is he in the current is he in any other current programs now?
Not right now.
All right, that's all the questions.
All right, we'll hear from a brief statement from Mr. Roland Grove.
Y'all can see me? Yeah.
Yes, sir. Go ahead and make a statement.
Well, we're anxious for our son finally come home. I will take care of him. Take him where he needs and make sure he does what he's supposed to do with probation officer and everything. I'm sure he will have.
Right. Okay. Yes, sir. Thank you so much. Thank you for your comment. Now we'll hear from Mr. Winston White. Good morning.
This is White, New State, Louisiana Attorney General's Office. I'll note that the crimes that we're here for today are some serious in Title 14. It's not just one. Reports, it's multiple, it's serious crime. I mean, his history is serious crimes against multiple. This one was premeditated. Premeditated to the crime scene, and then he raped her, and the crime spree that included more rape and felonies. I'll note I could go more. Panel has access to documents and later the crime was very, very serious. Consider clemency level. His record on those crimes or budgeting those crimes is part of the write-ups by the court. I will note that my understanding of the rules had that he barely made the window. I believe he needed 12 of being infraction free. So he barely made it. That's the record on which he's bringing to you as you do these crimes. So with that, I would just like to formally register in this opposition.
Right, thank you. Thank you for your comment. All right, Eric, would you like to make a statement on your behalf?
Yes, sir. I would just like to apologize to Nicole if she's listening or she's tell her how sorry I am. You know, I was wrong. I was really wrong for what I did to her. And I'm sorry to my parents. I put them through a lot. And I apologize to my kids. I left them fatherless out there. And every time I talk to them, it's a wake up call. It reminds me of what I did wrong. I heard so many people and that just, I'm sorry, it can never be enough.
Okay. Right, thank you. Thank you for your comment. Council prepared to vote? Mr. Marabella?
Thank you. Mr. Gross, you've been in jail for a good while on a 15-year sentence. Your full term date is 2 years from now. Your criminal history, I mean, 2 separate rapes, same type of thing. You've taken sex offender treatment, and I realize that maybe that 4th one is facilitating, but you really, I believe, could have gotten a lot more if you had taken that 4th phase of that sex offender treatment. You seem to say all the right things. I'm just not sure that you truly comprehend what you've done. And what effect this has had on your victims in this case. I'm looking at your evaluation, and it says you have a moderate need for substance abuse treatment. You've taken a couple of substance abuse courses, yet you tell me that isn't an issue. I wouldn't drink it very much. And I think that you maybe don't really have an understanding of all of the things that you have to come to grips with in order to stay. You had a disciplinary write-up in 2021 for a cell phone. And then you had another disciplinary write-up in 2022 where you had contraband, which was a charger. And you broke off of property belonging to the prison a cable to use charger.
Can I say one thing?
You don't need to raise your hand. I read the offense report. I just think you need more time to personally reflect how you're going to behave now and while you're in. You need to make sure you follow the rules, and you don't seem to be able to do that just yet. So my vote today is going to be to deny based upon disciplinary record and your history of violence in this case and opposition from one person.
Ms. Jackson?
All right, Ms. Gross, there are some things concerning in your but you have taken 3 phases of the sex offender treatment program. And I think that you do recognize that your actions were totally unjustified in both of these cases. You only had 5 write-ups, and you have a low risk assessment, and you did obtain your GED. I'm willing to take a chance on you, Mr. Gross. My vote would be to grant your early release and make a condition that you attended 2 AA or NA meetings per week, and no contact with the victims, except to the extent that they are willing to have contact regarding the children that you share.
All right, you have 1 vote to deny and 1 vote to grant. I also am going to vote to deny your parole for the same reason stated. You need, I'd say, more programming. Your law enforcement opposition, at least the disciplinary write-ups are a problem, and your past criminal history. So 2 votes to deny, 1 to grant. Today, your parole's been denied. Good luck to you.